June 9th, around 4:45, and I call this Human Resources Committee to order. We have a quorum present in the chamber. Number one, approval of May 12th, 2025 minutes. They're in your packet. Any questions or concerns? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to accept. Motion by Martin, second by Killian. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Number two is the Human Resources Report for May of 2025. It's in your packet. Do we have any questions or concerns for the HR Director? Okay. Seeing none, we'll place that on file. Number three, discussion and possible action to approve the reclassification of selected jobs in the City of Wausau Assessment Department.
Yes, so
Turn your mic on.
It is on.
it's on. Hang on. Is there... Hello? Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the city assessor brought it to my attention upon my starting here that a previous compensation study that had been conducted in 2023 did not yield what he thought was appropriate nor equitable compensation classification for him and for 3 of his subordinate positions. So I did take a look at the wage studies that were done, and it was not a comprehensive review as is outlined in the handbook to happen every 5 years. I noted in the background summary that only 53 jobs were selected out of the 124 unique job titles that we have here at the city, so it wasn't a complete and comprehensive review. And to describe a little bit about the data collected, it is almost of the philosophy garbage in, garbage out, and the job descriptions are really the impetus of all compensation studies. And what I've learned is that our job descriptions are something that we have a really big opportunity for improvement on, and really identifying the essential tasks and duties of these jobs instead of the high-level job instructions, as I've seen seems to be pretty commonplace on job descriptions, which is, it's just an area that we can improve. But I did take a look and did more of an analysis on the jobs themselves and the compensable pieces of the roles. And I do see why this position was slotted instead of data-driven. And slotting is done when there's not enough actual data available to put it in a structure. And that does happen most commonly when jobs don't have accurate compensable pieces of the role identified. So looking back at the crowdsourced data that was available, there was not even a lot that was collected anecdotally by the assessment department and by CIVMIC and some other HR groups that we have for just that information on compensation. So looking at internal equity absent the data that I would like to use, I do recommend slotting the city assessor at the same role as his peers. And I do have some criteria outlined as far as a risk factor. When you do have somebody in a position who is not qualified, the risks oftentimes don't outweigh the reward of low compensation. And some of the qualifications for the city assessor that are outlined here really are, it's a lot of tacit knowledge that is, gained over many years. And if I recall, there was a previous assessor whom had retired, and after she retired, somebody who was not competent was placed in the role, and it ended up costing the city a lot of money. So taking all of those variables into factor, along with some of the data, which I did remove the proprietary factors of the data from Gallagher, I do recommend moving that position up to a level 5, and I would like to put some latticing in with these positions. So instead of having just one bulk position, breaking it out, and I went through those duties with the assessor, and we outlined what are some elevated tasks that a level 2 could do. Used to be a level senior. Whatever vernacular you'd like to use is fine with me, but updating that to a grade 16 for the level 2, and then the deputy up to a level 12, which is commensurate with the deputy finance director. And that's kind of the summary of this, yes.
Lisa, just upon review before I heard you, it was obvious that our city assessor position appeared well below that of the other department heads. And it's my opinion that we need to recognize the importance and the function of his role, and it's a critical function with the city. In that regard, there should not be an imbalance between the leadership of the city assessor's endeavors and hard work in relation to the director of other departments. You sent me a table this morning, I believe.
Yeah.
And it had minimum, mid, and maximum ranges. And my question to you is, would using the mid-range rather than the maximum range create equality for our assessment department related to other departments and positions? And if not, would it take using the maximum range to create our assessors' wages to a level that would be at least consistent with other departments and for other assessment positions to be competitive? Do we need to use the maximum range, or would the mid-range work?
I don't recommend ever starting at the maximum, because then you're redlining. And unless we want to adopt something different, like a lump sum payout, so you're not extrapolating off of base pay, but just giving that, compensatory piece, I definitely would not start anybody at maximum. And I believe my rationale was trying to keep the step in place. So we have going from a step 14 to a step 14 for the city assessor. The grade is changing. A step 18, so the deputy is going to be redlined anyway. So moving that into a step 12, so there's still room for growth. 12 for the property appraiser, which they're all just one line item right now, but moving that to a level 2 at a step 12. So that would be in line. And that's just kind of the range penetration that they're in. If it's commensurate with their experience or how long they've been there, then that's going to transfer over and be equitable. And we have another property assessor, step 10, moving that into a step 11, and then one going from a step 9 to a step 10. And then I recommend no change for the assessment technician. I think that one's right on track.
Your assessment, to me, appears very thorough, and I would agree with you. Thank you.
Oh, okay, yes, thank you.
I agree with your assessment. I have no
Okay.
problem there. Do you think that somebody should review it before we pass it on, just because of your relationship with the assessor?
I would be more than happy to invite a second set of eyes, but I did,
Want to be accused of wrongdoing or any type of preferential treatment for you?
understandable, and that is something I considered as well. But I think my work and my documentation speaks for itself, and I hope that it does. But I definitely welcome a second set of eyes or a second opinion if necessary.
Sure. So this is a process that started long before the hiring of the HR director. So it's something that I was aware of, the prior HR director was aware of. So I have some visibility on it, and I support this. So, I'll take a look at the final product. But
I wasn't saying that I don't support it. I was saying at the risk of there being accusations that Rick was given preferential treatment. Apparently, I can't talk today. I was just making sure that she was protected.
Thank you.
yes, there
I
will
appreciate
be
that.
more eyes on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and there's documentation too from James and from the work that he was attempting to do, which was a little stagnant, but
I was not doubting your data, but I just wanted you protected in case there were any type of accusations.
I
that
appreciate
rose
that
there.
so much. Thank you.
Sure.
I will vote against this. I think that the first thing out of the gate from your office was this assessment with regard to your relation within City Hall. I think that there are other ways of approaching this. I think that if we stand back and look at what Gallagher said back in 2023 with regard to the city should conduct a comprehensive market compensation study every 3 to 5 years. I think we're ready for that. Specifically a compensation, the comprehensive comprehension study goes back to 2018. I think we're ready, and that sort of the whole study would take your office out of it. And I think we would have to start to gear up for putting it into the 2026 budget. It would be I think we need a comprehensive wage and salary look at the whole city. The 2023 was pretty much a wage and compensation study, and I think right now that I really can't go with this because I think the relationship at this point in time, I think is, I just don't think that this is the right thing that I can support. So with that, I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, in looking at the information here, the numbers, and there definitely is an imbalance between the assessment department and the other city departments, and I can understand how Gallagher would choose to slot these positions instead of using data-driven methods, because I think typically, and as we've worked with Gallagher's market studies in the past, they work well for some departments and positions, and they work poorly for others because it just doesn't have a good toehold into municipal government and employment. So I get how they use slotting, which is unusual because every city has got an assessor. So I don't know why there's such trouble in getting good data on this, but I'll be supporting this.
I guess I want to address the wage study. Even if we started a wage study and get that through council today, it takes a lot of time, and I want the HR director to tell, we would not be ready for the 2026 budget, I don't believe.
No, we have, over 124 unique job titles, which means going through and looking at all of those. The 3 that I saw today with water had 24 compensable pieces of the role, and they just need an overhaul.
Well, for the 2026, what we would be doing for the 2026 budget would be hiring the consultants or the organization to conduct the study. Most likely their study would be conducted in 2026, and in 2027, that's what preparing ourselves for the 2027 budget. So it's not the fact that we're going to get the study done. We would be hiring the RFP for this firm that will be doing it, but that takes, and I know that's maybe a delay with any other promotions or wage realignments, but at least that it starts to get us back on track with regard to a larger compensation and staff study. We're overdue. I don't know why we are hesitant to do that. I think we owe that to the staff. It's been a while, and I think we need to do that. And I would think that the staff would be, the rest of the city staff, I think, deserves it, and I think they need a new look at it, and I think we should be starting to prepare ourselves for that. And I think the the way this is looking today, I just feel that it's just, the relationship is just causing me to vote no. So thank you.
I just heard you say that you were looking at staff from the water. Okay. What I am going to say is, I won't be back here saying, yes, we're going to give this one an increase. Yes, we're going to give this one an increase. I think what has to happen is this needs to go into the budget for 2026, because I personally will not sit here and support this one and this one and this one and this one because it's not in our budget. We're already millions and millions and millions of hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. So if they would continually come back to me, I will say no. I see a great discrepancy on this one, and that's why I'm saying yes. But, do your studies, do what you need to do, or like Gary said, let's do an RFP and get somebody in here and study all the staff, but, or put it in 2026's budget. But I won't look at 3 people here, 4 people here. I won't support something like that. Thank you.
I agree, because you're just exacerbating a problem and you're essentially kicking a can down the road. There does need to be a big study. It's going to start with job descriptions, which is a body of work that I'm happy to take on. However, there are a lot of competing priorities right now in human resources. I would not be comfortable right now putting out any RFP with the current state of our job descriptions. It'd be a waste of money.
Any other questions, concerns on this subject? I'd entertain a motion if somebody would like. Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to accept the assessment.
Okay. To accept the reclass? I think that's what it's called. Okay. Is there a second? Second by Martins. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Okay. So that passes 4-1. Thank you. Now we have the last item, and it's a closed session item. We will be adjourning out of closed session. Would somebody be reading that? Who do I appreciate tonight? That's who I was looking at.
I make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85, paragraph 1, section F, considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary considerations of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons, except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data, or involved in such problems or investigations, specifically preliminary consideration of a complaint filed against certain city personnel pursuant to sections 2.06.040 of the City of Wausau Municipal Code.
Second by Killian. Roll call vote. Gisselman? Aye. Killian? Aye. Martins?
Aye.
Kearney? And I'm aye as well. And again, we will be adjourning it out of close. Thank you.